All right, Zach Wilson, let's be honest. 5 facts plus a bonus one. Just objective. Kind of an emotional conversation amongst Jets fans. He's a bust. He's the guy. You're just a hater. Have some patience. Jets fans are the worst. He's going to be Josh Allen. All right, well, let's be honest. Fact number 1. Zach Wilson is the most physically talented Jets quarterback I've seen in my life. The combination of escapability, mobility, arm talent, I haven't seen anything like it as a Jets fan the last 30 years. Fact number 2, we do not have enough information to either confirm or deny Zach Wilson's status as the franchise quarterback of the New York Jets. In my opinion, if you think Zach is already a bust after 17 games, you're being kind of a hater because all the quarterbacks from that draft, the jury is still out. 17 games. Not enough to call him a bust, but if you're saying Zach Wilson is no doubt 100% the franchise quarterback of the Jets, and anyone who says otherwise is not a real fan, is a doubter. I have to question if you're being a homer. And I have to wonder if you actually watch other quarterbacks play football. If we think that Zach Wilson is very form right now, doesn't need to make any improvements, he's good, confirmed. No. Both of those extreme takes, in my opinion, are incorrect. Fact number 3. Zach Wilson gets credit for winning. It's crazy that it's kind of a hot take in the fantasy football era. But yeah, Zach Wilson being 4-0, he gets immense credit for that. Undefeated since he's been back. However, the caveat to number 4 is that we're allowed to evaluate the quarterback position and outside of wins and losses. We are. So he gets credit for that. It's highly weighted credit. When we talk about all the great quarterbacks, we're talking about a lot of guys who have won a lot of games. But last year, we were evaluating Zach Wilson in a bunch of losses, oftentimes positively. One of the games that I felt coming away with the best last year was the Tampa Bay game, a game that we lost. But in my opinion, it was where Zach Wilson really just showed the most growth and development. Was playing some grown-up quarterback. Calm, poised in the pocket, accurate throws over the middle. And we lost that game in tragic Jets fashion. But we said, you know what? Silver lining, Zach's playing really well. So in my opinion, you're allowed to separate the team overall, how they're progressing, for better or for worse, and overall how your young quarterback is progressing for better or worse. You're allowed to do that. And number 5, Zach Wilson has not been awful, and Zach Wilson has not been great. He hasn't been awful. No turnovers going on like 13 straight quarters. No complete meltdowns. Sam Darnold seeing ghosts hasn't happened. He seems to get better as the game goes on. And he's managing the game, right? But he hasn't been great. Completion percentage under 60 on the year. Yards per attempt under 7. Touchdown interception ratio 1-2, right? So, not great. Not terrible. He's been all right. For a guy with 17 career starts, got some things he's got to do better. There's some things that we like. Number 6, finally, it's okay to raise our expectations for Zach Wilson. It's okay. It's okay to put expectations on a number 2 overall pick. I know. Hot take. And not make excuses for every single mistake that he makes. You know, I see a lot of, well, who cares? The team's winning. He could be Mark Sanchez. He could be. That could be the story of this year, where we make the playoffs with a young quarterback who's managing the game. And Mark Sanchez played the best when the lights were brightest, responsible for my favorite memories as a Jet. But I'm going to be honest, if Zach Wilson has Mark Sanchez's career trajectory, I'm going to be disappointed. Mark Sanchez never became a long-term franchise quarterback in the NFL. So if that's who Zach Wilson ends up being, okay, it's possible. It's possible the Jets win some games with him playing that role, but there's no reason why we have to put a ceiling on what Zach Wilson can do. There's no reason we should be afraid to demand more when the only human being taken before him was the best NFL quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck or John Elway, depending on who you ask. So it's okay to expect more from Zach Wilson in the Denver Bronco game. I'm getting ratioed on Twitter for having the gall to say, I don't think he looks so hot. I know there's context that matters, right? Denver's elite defense, the Jets' injuries, there's some wind. I get it. Didn't expect him to look like prime Dan Marino, but I wanted it to be painfully obvious that when the Jets rolled in to face Brett Rippon, that we had the better quarterback that day, clear cut. And it was not painfully obvious to me. So I expect more of Zach Wilson, but he's not a bust or anything like that. He's going to be our guy the rest of the year. There's no sense in living and dying every single week because we got to give him the whole year and then look back and see where he's at. But we're allowed to evaluate and celebrate small victories and critique areas of concern along the way with our young quarterback. And we'll talk football soon.